club is in process of revising its format to better serve your interests and is pleased to welcome you all this evening. In a moment, I'll call on Robert Berg, who you have seen, Program Chairman, to introduce the presentation. After the meeting, if you have any comments regarding the conduct of the meeting, please see me or Robert, or send an email to any officer of the club. Please remember the Community Club is not the Valencia Lakes Property Owners Association, not the property manager, and not the lifestyle office. The club is here to provide information to you about topics that are of current interest. The club has set a goal of approximately an hour for tonight's meeting, but in view of the high level of interest you've shown, we've not limited the speaker's time and will not limit the length of the meeting. Following the presentation, please remain to hear two of Valencia Lakes clubs introduce themselves to you. Following those introductions, if time permits, we may have an open discussion period, although with a crowd this large, it may not be a valuable thing. And following that, a period called Good and Welfare. These periods may be cut short or eliminated, so if you have something the club needs to hear, please see me or Robert, or again, send an email to any officer of the club. This evening, the Community Club is pleased to have a delegation from the Florida Department of Transportation, and I call on Robert Berg, the Community Club Program Chairman, to introduce the delegation.
Thank you very much. But before I introduce them, I'd like to thank the program committee, especially Alan Burkhoff, for helping get this on the road tonight. Now, could all the people on the program committee stand up? Come on, someone. We got one. We got one person. I'd like to introduce Christine Bonoy, who is the District 7 Project Manager. Christine.
Good evening. Thank you once again for everyone for showing up. I really am encouraged to see the presentation of your residents. I have to tell you, this is a beautiful community, and we look forward to making it a more safe and efficient access out front here at Valencia Lakes. So I am Christina Bolnoy. I'm the FDOT project manager, as was just stated, and I'll be the main contact for any project-related questions at this point forward. My contact information is in the pamphlet provided, and we will also provide this information to Mr. Underlack to provide that to you in your community newsletters. Alongside me is Marlon Register. He's the project manager for the roadway components of the design efforts going on US 301. He has over 19 years experience in transportation design, and he has managed projects from minor resurfacing to major highway construction projects. You're in good hands. Mr. Lopez, Carlos Lopez, is also next to Marlon, and he is the lead drainage engineer on this project as well. As you can imagine, with the open drainage that we have out here, Carlos has a big job ahead of him, or has had a big job ahead of him, as we're at 90% plans. So I'm going to turn the meeting over to Marlon to give you an update on the design work.
Okay, so what are we building out here? If any of you, I'm sure many of you here in the community have traveled north to Baum Road for the, to Big Bend Road for the restaurants that are up there. We are continuing the same type of improvements within this segment. We're going to be building a 6-lane roadway out there all the way from State Road 674 up to south of Baum Road. We will have a 5-foot sidewalk on the west side of the road and a 12-foot path on the east side of the road. And this path will be continuous from State Road 674 all the way up to Gibsonton Drive. This picture here shows the existing connection that's out there now where we did the improvements to the north. This project will simply be melding and matching at that juncture. As part of the project, we will also be putting new lighting system in out there. We will be making signal improvements at State Road 674, Cape Stone Avenue, the entrance to the Walmart Shopping Center, and also 19th Avenue. One thing I wanted to brief you on is that the DOT currently has plans to put a signal in at 19th Avenue prior to this project, and we will be modifying that signal to work with our widened roadway as part of this project. There will be 3 entrances to Valencia Lakes, two in addition to the existing entrance that you have there. One will be at the future West Loop Road, which is about 4,500 feet south of your existing entrance. The second will be at the 19th Avenue extension, which will be an extension of 19th Avenue to the east, and that will be a future project, not associated with this project. This graphic here shows your existing entrance out there. It's an existing 4-lane entrance with a right turn lane. For your orientation purposes, north is to the right of the picture. You have a right turn lane out there and a short path stub out that's out there today. This graphic shows the improvements that we're going to be making at the entrance. We're going to put a full median opening, which means you'll be able to make less out and less into the entrance. We will be maintaining the 4 lanes. We will be putting a dedicated right turn lane in for the entrance. And because the path is on your side of the roadway, there will be a shared use path crossing at your entrance. Now Carlos Lopez is going to discuss the stormwater ponds that are going to be located at the roadway frontage.
Thanks, Marlon. There are 6 stormwater management facilities for this project. 4 of them are within the Valencia Lake property limits. And I'm just going to be discussing those 4 that are in the frontage here. 3 of the ponds are south of the main entrance today. The first one is at the number 1. It's at the southern limits of the property next to Cape Stone, next to a wetland. And that is going to be a treatment and flood attenuation facility. The second pond, number 2, is south of the entrance as well. It's open land. Can't reference anything right there. But that is a site that we have coordinated with Valencia Lakes and their engineer. And our current design has a berm that blocks the view of that area. So none of the residents. That's within the area of Track M that's currently being permitted for development, and all that's being coordinated with the engineer firm. The third pond is on the top. It's right next to the new softball field. It is adjacent to a wetland. This is a treatment pond. I must say that none of these ponds are going to be connected to the ponds on site in Valencia Lakes. They only receive US 301 water, and they all drain to the west towards Sun City Center. So there will be no commingling of Valencia Lakes water with US 301 water. And the fourth pond is right at the northern property limits, adjacent to Bill Tucker Road. And this is the largest of the facilities. There will be a wet pond at the corner.
Okay. The schedule, I'm sure everyone is interested to learn about the schedule when this is going to start. Our estimated start date for the current schedule is late 2016, early 2017. The estimated construction duration is about 2.5 years, but we add about 20% of that time to account for weather days and holidays. There are about 30 days of holidays every year. So for 2 years of construction, that's 60 days added. So we need to add that to the 2.5 years construction. But this is all dependent on the contractor and his means and methods of finishing this project. So we're going to get into the questions. If you wouldn't mind holding your questions to the end, just noting them down. And at the end, we're going to take additional questions if you have them based on our answers, okay? Okay, so in the packets that you have in front of you, for those of you who were lucky enough to receive the packets, how many lanes will there be? Well, as we just mentioned, there were going to be 6 lanes in each direction. with the 5-foot sidewalk on the west side and then the 12-foot on the east side for the multi-use path. So golf carts are currently not designated on the shared use pathway. For additional information on the golf carts, we're going to direct you to call our traffic operations group, as this is their specialty in consideration of golf carts on such pathways. The next question is the timeline. As we just discussed, the start is going to be the fall or late 2016, early 2017 at the latest. It is anticipated that the construction will last again 2.5 years, accounting for some of those scheduled holidays and rain days. More information, we're still pretty far out. It's 2014, we're looking into the future, the 2015, 2016. As time draws near that date of beginning construction, the let date, as we would call it in the DOT, that's when we're going to know more about the schedule. And the schedule is then going to be determined by the contractor, not by the district. We tell them that they have so many construction days that they're allowed to be out in the field, but we don't dictate if they go under that. We're very hopeful that they will find every mean and method to get that done faster, to inconvenience you less. And that's all of our objectives right now. So the next question. Where will the project start? This question is is it going from the south to the north or from the north to the south? Following up on that question is, how will this impact the main entrance to Valencia Lakes, and how long will it take to complete this section at the entrance? Again, as I just explained, we can't tell the contractor how they are supposed to construct their project. So if they want to go from the north to the south, then that's the way that they will complete their construction. We have provided them maintenance of traffic plans as part of Marlon's design to recommend that they construct the road the way that we would ask them to, I guess, if you want to think of it that way. But in fact, it is their choice as to how they feel that they can progress this construction as fast as possible. So the time for construction within the entrance is unknown at this time. As I said, the contractor, he's going to try to get that done as fast as possible. So it will be up to him as to how fast that schedule will move forward, and how much they can if they have to close the entrances down and whatnot, not close your access down, but limit a lane, they will do that to speed up construction. We'll get into that a little bit more. Are there any plans to integrate additional access points to Valencia Lakes? Yes, there are 2 additional access points to alleviate the single access that you have now. The proposed facility is south, about 4,500 feet. And the one to the north will tie in at the 19th Avenue extension, where the new signal will be going in. Have the federal, state, and county overcome all of the EPA and various environmental group hurdles due to the widening encompassing waterways? During the design, the DOT has obtained all necessary permits for this construction project. Thanks to Marlon and Carlos, we have done that. So all of the permits have been obtained, and we anticipate no issues moving forward. Will the construction be during off-peak hours and limit through lanes to 1, resulting in traffic stoppages? None of us like that. However, all of us want the construction project to finish as soon as possible. These delays, these construction activities will mostly be off-peak hours. We don't want to see delay for our road users. We want you to get home as fast as we want to get home as employees. So we will, as the contractor, it's up to him. They don't like to hear complaints either. So they will do whatever they can to get those activities completed off-peak hours, which means when the traffic's not at its heaviest. I do want to just state that we do lane closure analysis, and that's when we look at all of the traffic on a roadway throughout the continuous day, and we dictate to the contractor. We can only dictate to him what our lane closure analysis results indicate, and that's what the peak hours are. Where those peak hours are the heaviest volumes, we do not want people stuck in the roadways because of construction activity. Granted, there are some times when that cannot happen, we cannot accommodate to get the contractor off of the roadway. We do our best to dictate to him when we limit those hours of construction. Okay. Let's see, it appears that the bridge over Bull Creek will present a construction challenge. How will this be addressed is the first part of the question. The second part of the question is, will the construction require traffic rerouting from US 301, especially when work commences over Bull Frog Creek. Add the word big in there and that doesn't come out at all, I gotta tell you. The construction activities at Big Bull Creek. Big Bull, forget it. BBC, we'll call it BBC. We all got that terminology down. We're all about acronyms of the department. It will be determined again by the contractor. I know that you're probably just thinking that I'm just telling you this over and over. It really is repetitive in our office as well. We cannot dictate what the contractor does. Only give them limited accessibility to the roadway during those lane closure analysis times, which are dictated on the plans. The plans do not require rerouting traffic from US 301. However, we cannot tell you that that will not happen. But we can tell you that we ask the contractor to minimize that as much as possible. We do not want to inconvenience residents. We do not want to inconvenience ourselves, as some of the department actually lives nearby. So traffic may at times be rerouted to different portions of the roadway. All right. Are the construction funds already appropriated, or will homeowners incur an additional assessment and or property tax? The DOT has already funded this roadway construction effort. Not to say that if there's a county question about that, you need to direct those questions to the county, but this roadway construction effort out here is already funded by the DOT, okay? Please address concerns about potential flooding during and after construction. Throughout the design, the DOT, and thanks to Marlon and Carlos over here, we've reviewed these wet and dry periods, returning to this question, wet periods, and we have not viewed any incidences of flooding nearby. Excuse me. And there's a bunch of stuff in there about watershed studies that they can go over with you if you have any questions about that. Drainage is not my area of expertise. And so after visiting those rainfall events, we did not, since I said we did not see any flooding issues. We don't anticipate either any flooding issues during the construction. We do everything that we can to minimize any kind of flooding, especially when it's coming near personal property and or your residential property. So all of those drainage systems will be equal to or better than the existing systems. So if during our hurricane season you do see ponding, these drainage systems that are designed by our consultants take care of that as well. They're going to improve it as compared to existing conditions, and that's what we're here for. What are the restrictions on equipment sounds during construction? The question nobody likes to really vet, but as a homeowner who had construction on the house next door, I side with you on this one. None of us like sound. None of us like construction sound. But I have to tell you that construction activities are noisy, but they're temporary. They're temporary while the construction is going on only, and it will commence. The faster it gets going, the faster it's going to finalize. Now the beeping on the trucks that you hear, that's a piercing. Nobody likes to hear that at 4 in the morning. We all hate that, really, let's be honest. That's an OSHA regulation. We can't take those beeping sounds off of the trucks. That's just an OSHA regulation. That's a federal standard that we cannot change. However, the contractors don't want to work at 4 in the morning either. That comes to a high premium to the DOT, and they're not going to want to work over, during hours where you're sleeping because they want to be sleeping also. But I can't tell you that you're not going to hear banging from trucks, pumps going on. We'll do everything that we can to minimize that, and working with the contractor, you'll just have to notify us if things get out of hand. You'll just have to notify us and we'll talk to the contractor. But we can't tell him how to build the job. We can't tell him not to use pumps, and we definitely cannot tell him to take the beeping sounds off of those trucks because that's a safety measure. Dust. Everyone loves dust, right? The contractor will monitor the dust on the project and will apply appropriate measures to minimize dust. What they do, you'll see the big water trucks out there and it looks like we're just wasting water all day long. We're not wasting water. We're trying to minimize dust as much as possible. We don't want those particles infiltrating your neighborhood, so the water trucks are necessary, and that's one measure that they can take into account to minimize that. Will there be a traffic signal at 19th Avenue or at the entrance to Valencia Lakes? Once the traffic signal is installed at 19th Avenue, Will all the signals be timed north-south, or will each continue similar as they operate today? Okay, so a traffic signal, as Marlon has said, and oh, got applause where I want applause too, 19th Street will soon be signalized. Thank you, I appreciate that. However, Valencia Lakes is not warranted at this time. There's a signal warrant process that we have to go to, and I checked the volumes myself. That is my specialty, and there just is not enough traffic going in and out of this neighborhood. And it will be improved by the signal at 19th Street. In traffic operations, we look at gap acceptance, and with the traffic signal, whenever it's red for north-south traffic, you're obviously going to have more gaps to get out of your neighborhood. So we just want to make you aware that Valencia Lakes, while it is not warranted right now, doesn't mean it will not be warranted ever. That just means in the existing conditions, it is not warranted. We will continue to monitor this, the volumes, if you have an influx of volumes, an increase in your volumes, or an increased need that we deem necessary for signalization. The developer of this neighborhood will be the responsible party to design, construct, and build, or design and build that signal. So we just want to make you aware of that effort, that it's not off the table for good, it's just off the table right now in existing conditions. And as for the timings, for the signal at 19th Street, we have this terminology called interconnected. You'll see it in the answer. Interconnection is just a fiber optic line that's going to run between each of your signals so that they can run from Hillsborough County. That's where it's maintained. The signal timings along US 301 will be coordinated, is the term that we use. So when you hit green on one, you're supposed to hit green as you use the speed limit and traverse north or south on US 301. Again, speed limit. We do those, we try our best to accommodate with interconnection with all the signals, and that means that the county is also monitoring those signals. If they do go down, that they can send a response unit out. So if the coordination for those signals will be improved as they are today whenever this project goes forward. What was the original date? The US 301 expansion was approved in 1987. Wow. How many of you were actually in Florida in 1987? Yeah, I wasn't. I'm a transplant. Okay, so the Federal Highway Administration, we call them FHWA, issued a location design acceptance, and this is called the date of public knowledge, which is a recognition that the study has been done and US 301 should be widened based on future conditions. Again, 1987. Okay, for additional information on the PD&E process or anything that you hear tonight that's called PD&E, that's the Project Development and Environment PD&E group, the phone number is in your pamphlet and also will be provided in an email to David Unkelly. Okay. All right. Was a noise study done for residential property fronting US 301? Yes. A noise study was performed for all residential properties that existed during the summer-fall of 2006. We had to I understand that. I do understand that. However, that's per the federal guidelines and we have noise experts here to talk on that. That question, I'm pretty sure that there's more to follow up on that. Yeah, I understand. So to follow, the last question is a wall provided to abate the additional noise from a 4 or 6 lane road and/or will one be considered? Sound walls were evaluated again as the same 2006 evaluation. And because Valencia Lakes was developed post 2006, they were not considered as part of the noise reduction measures. Again, the PD&E information is provided up on the screen and in your pamphlet for additional questions. That is not my area of expertise, but I will investigate further. But we do have noise experts here for specific questions. And on that note, I'm providing you with the last, the information is in your packet. For my contact information, again, I'm the FDOT District 7 Project Manager, and my contact office phone and email are there. I've been coordinating up to this point with David following your previous meetings. I just want to tell you how much I appreciate all of your comments. Without your comments, well, first of all, I wouldn't be here without you asking, so I appreciate that. Someone who's working for the state, we want you to be informed of the process, and we want to answer as many questions, whether they're the answers you want or not. We want to come and provide you with that information directly. We don't want you to hear it from hearsay down at Publix or at Walmart. We want to be the ones to bring this information to you. So if you do have questions in the future, and you're hearing of rumors or you're hearing of things that are going to happen out on the construction site, we are here to answer those questions for you. Okay? We're not just hiding behind our four walls, although sometimes I wish, sometimes. But we would ask. It's worked to this point. Now you have my contact information. Feel free to call me. However, if it's a conjoined effort and it is you have multiple questions of the same, I'd prefer it come through one contact, and I've been, again, contacting David and Don and others, so if we could get one point of contact, that would be great. But you have my information. If you want to email me or call me, it will. So with that, that is the end of our formal presentation.